In this module, I'll show you how to prepare a candidate for an interview. Normally, I'd set aside an hour to brief the candidates for permanent roles. Ideally, you want to do this face-to-face to encourage a more open and honest conversation. If your candidate is happy to come in and meet you, it's more likely that they're committed for the role. Don't send somebody for an interview that isn't 100% interested in the opportunity. Your client will sense this and will only create issues further down the line. Remember, if your candidate performs badly, your client is less likely to interview candidates that you send him in the future. Freelancers and temps can be assessed on a case-by-case basis, and it's quite acceptable to do this on the phone. Preparation will give your candidates confidence, but passion, individuality, drive and enthusiasm will set them apart from their competitors. This is why you must encourage them to be professional, but also allow their personality to shine through the interview. In the first half of this module, we'll look at how to prepare your candidate for an interview. In the second half, we'll look at how to prepare your client for an interview. Start by asking the candidate what they know about the company. The more they can tell you about its history, its strength, its size and competitors, the more confident they'll be when they talk to your client. Now ask them what they know about the company. This can include when the company was established, how many people it employs, its core market, their 3 main competitors, and maybe some awards that it's received, or an insight into its culture or company values. Now ask your candidate to do some independent research before the interview. This should include a Google search, browsing the company website, reading articles that maybe have been recently featured in the press. One of my key tips for the candidate is for them to set up a Google alert, one on the company name and another on the person that will be interviewing them. This way they'll be immediately informed if anything is published online about the company. Tell the candidate about the person who will be interviewing them. Make sure you cover the following: how approachable the person is, and also see if you can get a bio from LinkedIn on the person they'll be interviewing. Use your experience by taking the client to help your candidate build a rapport. Let's firstly deal with the basic fundamentals. Ask your candidate to ensure that they don't have any unprofessional photographs on their social media accounts. Your client will research your candidate, so don't let any embarrassing pictures ruin their chances. Talk to them about what they plan to wear for the interview. If you've visited the company's offices, describe what employees typically wear, so your candidate has made an effort to fit into the company, its style and approach. For example, an interview at Google will be much more casual than probably an interview at a bank, where I think it'll be much more formal. Tell your candidate to greet the receptionist like they would with the client. Receptionists and PAs will usually feed back to the client about how comfortable and relaxed you were whilst waiting in reception. Ensure your candidate always makes eye contact. Tell them that good eye contact will show the client that they're really interested and confident and very engaging. It's also important to tell your candidate to greet the client with a firm and professional handshake. Don't let your candidate make a first bad impression. They might all sound very obvious techniques, but you'll be surprised at how even senior candidates sometimes forget the pure, simple basics. Now I'm going to show you a technique to help the candidate succeed in the interview. Ask your candidate to take out their notepad and pen that they're going to use during the interview. Then ask them to write down the company's name, the name of the contact at the top of the page, and make sure the notes are bold so the client notices them. Now ask your candidate to write down 2 of their favourite projects from the company. Tell them to include an outline, the project brief and why they liked it. Also ask the candidate to write down 4 projects they worked on at the current or previous companies. Now this could include the budget, the project manager's plans, problems they faced during the project, and the results, and also the client feedback. Get them to include some of your client's key requirements from this too. Then ask your candidate to write down questions for the end of the interview. I'd encourage my candidates to ask at least 3 questions. For example, what is the career progression for this role? Are they working on any exciting projects at the moment? Why do they like working for the company? How did the current or previous employee impress them in this particular role? What contributions could I make to your company? What challenges might I face in this particular role? Lastly, how do they feel the interview went? And can they see me fitting into the organisation? Most of these will be answered during the interview, but the list will show the client that your candidate is eager for information and has planned ahead. The final question also gives the candidate one last chance to overcome any objections based on the client's response. Always encourage the candidate to tell the client if they're interested in the position at the end of the interview. Now ask your candidate to call you straight after the interview. You need to know what happened from their point of view, so you can deal with any issues when you debrief the client. Watch the second half of the module where we'll look at how to prepare your client for an interview.